So today we're making sweet potatoes with kale. And so to start, we're gonna boil our water with some lemons in there. And the reason we're adding these lemon slices is not only to infuse the sweet potato with that nice, vibrant, citrusy taste, the peels will also add an element of bitterness. And that bitterness is important to balance the sweetness of the sweet potatoes. So while that's boiling, we're gonna get started chopping our sweet potatoes. I love a variety of colors, so I grabbed a few different kinds. We have a Japanese, purple, regular sweet potato. It's gonna be delicious. Chibbity chap. So I actually like to leave the skins on the sweet potatoes. Personally, I think it tastes great. And I also feel like I'm getting more of a whole plant experience. Another ingredient that we didn't list on these recipes is a light mood, a cheerful attitude. In Ayurveda, whatever energy you have in the kitchen while you're cooking is considered an essential ingredient. It's infused into the experience. And so the idea is that you fill this recipe with love so that when people are enjoying it later, they taste that. All right, so now I'm gonna add the sweet potatoes to this nice boiling lemon water. Ooh. Mind the splashes. There you go. In the bath you go. There we go. So we're not gonna finish cooking them in here, we're just gonna start them cooking in here. And so adding that moisture element is also important to keep the sweet potatoes from drying out and to keep Vata happy. Oh, I'm hungry. So now I'm gonna prepare the kale to be mixed in with the sweet potatoes once they're off the oven. And so we've got roughly 2 heaping handfuls of kale chopped up. And we're gonna add our lemon juice to start to really break down the kale so that it's nice and tender. And then we're gonna add some nutritional yeast in here as well. I love nutritional yeast on my kale, especially when baked. It's so good. So, I'm gonna squeeze on about a tablespoon. If you like it a little bit more citrusy, you can definitely add 2 tablespoons and still be all right. When I'm mixing something with my hands, I like to add a little mantra to it, just either spoken aloud or in my head. And so I'm just wishing easy digestion and nourishment for whoever's gonna eat this. And once that's thoroughly coated, we're gonna add the nutritional yeast and mix again. So now we can set this aside, it's ready. So I'm gonna check the sweet potatoes to see if they're ready. We're looking for them to be tender but not falling apart. They're gonna finish cooking in the oven with the kale. So yeah, those are about ready. So now we're gonna add them all together in our dish. So adding our sweet potatoes. And I'm going to use the same pan here to cook up our ghee and spices to coat all of this before we throw it in the oven. So I added ghee to the pan first. You want to get the ghee nice and warm when you're adding the spices. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add the brown mustard seed first, and we're going to start to get them sizzling away. Whenever you have a whole seed that you're cooking, you want to add them before you add the powders because they need a little longer to really mix with the ghee and awaken their prana. So the mustard seeds are just starting to pop, so I'm going to go ahead and add my fresh ginger and my salt and cinnamon. You can give it a good toss around the pan. And then the important thing here is as soon as that cinnamon aroma begins to lift, this is ready to go over our goodies. So now we're gonna pour this goodness over all of our sweet potatoes. We're also gonna add about a cup of this starchy sweet potato water. And that's gonna also help hold the moisture in while we're baking. Give these a nice toss, and then we'll add the kale on top. Smells so good. Something magical happens when you put cinnamon on sweet potatoes. I don't know. Reminds me of the holidays. So this is just about ready to go in the oven, and we're gonna keep it in the oven for about 25 to 40 minutes, depending. We'll keep an eye on it. We're gonna take this out of the oven and give it a little toss. And so there's a couple of reasons we're doing that. The first is to make sure it's done, or it's getting close to done, and the second is to rehydrate all of the sweet potatoes with that yummy spiced liquid. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. That kale's getting nice and crispy. And so that crispness and that lightness of the kale is a good balance for the heaviness and the sweetness of the sweet potato. All right, this is gonna go back in the oven for about 10 to 15 minutes. Alright. So I'm just gonna set it up in here. Just remember the pan is hot. Oh wow, that looks good. Alright. It smells like, I can smell the kale, I can smell the ginger and the cinnamon, and just the hint of lemon in there as well.